The vast cosmos of space holds countless mysteries, from mysterious planets to new life forms that we might never know existed, and even some terrifying dangers. But something that we all wonder from the beginning was... how the hell did you survive in the moon? I think this question has been on everyone's mind since, well, My Little Pony introduced Nightmare Moon, and well, you could just say, well, it's a magical world, Sugarflake, anything is possible. And sure, that's technically true, but to brush it off as just magic is kinda lame, especially when MLP already answered this question. So today let's see what or who helped Luna survive in the moon. But there's a small itsy bitsy insignificant problem. The moon in MLP is non-existent. Yeah, sure, it's there, but we don't know much about it, how it works, is there life up there, how life could survive there in the first place, is it made of cheese, what's the moon in MLP like? All these were questions that we had and never got answers to, or at least not in the show. And here's where the comics come into play. And even then, we still don't have a lot to go off, but let's try and make it work, beginning with... I think this one is the most obvious one, how Luna can breathe in space in the first place. Like, wouldn't she be dead? Because at the end of the day, Luna and Nightmare Moon were the same pony, so if Luna died, well...
That's it! This is the best game ever! Cue the song and dance!
So what's up with that? And well, both Celestia and Luna are able to breathe in space, seemingly because they're gods. And we actually saw this in a flashback, and something that sounds so interesting. Maybe ponies that have planet or galaxy related cutie marks have unique abilities or even powers in space. Something that we actually saw with Nightmare Moon's magic in Night of the Living Apples, and Celestia being able to harness the power of the sun to unleash it into her enemies, aka a nuclear fusion. Wait a minute.
War. War never changes.
Luna, fuck me with your long boner in the coffee! Stop using my name in vain for you, perverted mare!
As I go riding merrily along.
Where to shoot, Blackjack? It's good luck.
Oh, eyeball destruction!
Do not shoot Blackjack!
So bright and yellow. I can't look.
So who knows what other powers ponies who have this type of cutie marks might have? Yeah, this immediately gets ruined by the comic. As we see that the main six can also breathe in the moon regardless of either alicorns or not, although I think this was done more for plot convenience than anything else. So okay, Luna can breathe in the moon because she's an alicorn, but there's another question that we need to answer, and that is, what did Luna eat while in the moon? And while random, out of all of the things that we don't know about the moon, this one is the one thing that ironically we got an answer to. And that is moon rocks. Yeah, you heard that right. Luna was eating rocks for over 1,000 years. And that's not all, because she has over 724 different rock gardens. And still cares about them in a regular basis, even if she has, oh I don't know, actual food now. And sure, you could say that she wasn't eating them, but then why she had gardens for them and even being concerned about what Cosmos would do to them in her exile? Yeah, she ate them. Luna ate rocks while in the moon is confirmed, or at least a headcanon. But this isn't the only thing that we need to look at, because we also need to understand how Nightmare Moon's magic worked. Many fans think that Luna was the one who controlled Nightmare Moon, but in reality this can be more far from the truth, and disturbingly, for what the comic explained, when Luna became Nightmare Moon she wasn't really in control, but rather acted more as a vessel for the Nightmare magic. Yes, that's really what this dark magic was called. And no, I'm not only talking about Luna's actions, but also memories and even who she thought she was. And surprisingly, out of all the users this magic corrupted, Luna was the most difficult user. Why? Well, because she still cared about her sister and Equestria, something that other users like King Anubis and the Pony of Shadows from Princess Aerith's timeline didn't. But that's not all, as things get even more weirder when you take into consideration that the moon might have been alive after Nightmare Moon was defeated. Now, this might sound crazy, but there's a high possibility that this is true. And the evidence for this is in the Game Love game, with Changeling's Luna's and Chaos Luna's descriptions, as one says, a devoted fan of the little known Chaos Moon faces, which could mean that either Nightmare Moon's magic or Nightmare Moon herself were the one responsible for making the moon faces happen in the world of Equestria. And Changeling's Luna's description read, she and the moon have even more in common, they both change every day. Which wouldn't make any sense because in theory, no one was living in the moon besides Nightmare Moon. Or so you would think. As in Nightmare Rarity, we actually see the creatures who live up there. These were smoky creatures that are directly connected to Nightmare Moon's magic. Which might explain how moon phases happened in Equestria before Nightmare Moon was even a thing. But weirdly, these creatures also have independent personalities and emotions, almost like they were their own organisms at some point in time. And that's because they were. These creatures at some point were called the Nyx, and their original purpose in Equestria was to be the Dream Keepers and the creator of dreams. Sound familiar? That's because this was Luna's purpose in the show. Luna originally wasn't the Night Keeper of Equestria, but rather just the one responsible of making night happen. So what exactly happened? And well, Nightmare Moon happened. As the first thing that Nightmare Moon tried to do is to manipulate dreams to ensue fear on others and subsequently Celestia. But there's one problem, she doesn't know how to create nightmares. Ironic, I know. And with the Nyx suspecting something wasn't right, they weren't just willing to teach her. So that's it, right? Just don't tell her anything and everything will be... oh yeah. You. This is Dorian. Dorian was a Nyx that got manipulated by Nightmare Moon with the promise of being her friend. And in return, she showed her how to create nightmares, manipulate them, and finally how to get in them. And in the process, dooming her own race, with Nightmare Moon corrupting them in a very disturbing way, as she made them turn on themselves, breaking them emotionally and psychologically, and creating the mess of the creatures that we see on Nightmare Rarity. So with all of this in mind, how did Luna survive in the moon, really? And well, it was love.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Sure, it might be anticlimactic to say that love saved Luna, but let me explain. In Nightmare Rarity, we discovered that the Nightmare magic could have just taken over Luna at any point, so why didn't it do it? I mean, it had over 1,000 years to do it, so what stopped it? Well, Luna did. Luna never gave in to this dark magic in over 1,000 years. She reinforced to herself that despite her hatred and jealousy over her sister and all of the damage that she did to Equestria, she loved them regardless, and if one day she could just go back to them, she knew that they would forgive and accept her back. Something that Rarity at that point in time didn't fully believe. And if it wasn't for the main six, Spike and the Nyx, this dark magic would have succeeded in taking over a host that ironically was better suited for them than Luna, but not because she was stronger, but because she was more insecure. What made Luna surviving the moon and Nightmare Moon so intriguing and reliable is not how she did it, but rather what came after. A lot of people say that Luna's redemption in the show is what made her the most relatable redeemed villain in the franchise, but that's not entirely true. And what no one talks about is what she needed to do in the comics to be redeemed, and subsequently, what she ended up becoming. After the episode The Princess's Dream of Magic ship, and even before that episode, we saw Luna's struggles to fit into Equestria, both in her demeanors or sometimes her actions. In a lot of issues, we see a more irresponsible and impulsive Luna, one that only wants to have simple things in life like fun, cake, or even just a day off, but she can't. Because at the end of the day, she still has a lot of responsibilities as a ruler and insecurities. A lot of them. But time and time again, she's reminded by the ponies who care about her who she really is. Not a villain, but a sister, a teacher, and even a friend. Luna's story doesn't end here, but it just starts. And if Luna teaches us anything, is that love, hope, and a little bit of believing in yourself truly can change you for the better.